In Chapter 11, Camilla's strengths really start to shine as we switch back to Defeat Boss. With just a small speed boost, Camilla effortlessly one-rounds Hinoka, which means we can put our entire focus on rushing Camilla forward. With stairs connecting the map's many rooms, she functionally has a straightaway path, but the rooms do confine how we engage with the enemy formations along the way. I'll have Camilla go through the western rooms so I can pick up the Spirit Dust chest, which means fighting Setsuna's archers and Kazuya's ninjas before the central samurai room. And surprisingly for normal mode, these enemies actually have their skills, with the archers having counter and the ninjas having lunge. In addition to Camilla's charge in the west, I am also going to have Odin lead a small team into Rinka's Oni Savage room in the east. Our own Oni Savage needs shove as early as Chapter 13, so I'll need to set up as many kills for him as I can before Camilla cuts him off with her swift boss killing. With 39 tiles between our closest starting position and Hinoka, Camilla should just need to move or be moved 4 times, especially considering Niles can ferry her while having his movement boosted up to 10. But to get the chest and work around the enemy formations better, I'm actually going to have Camilla move 5 times. Azura can easily sing for Camilla turn 1 to make this only take 4 turns, but if we can set up Azura to refresh Camilla twice, then Camilla will get her necessary 5 actions in just 3 turns. Typically, whoever gets refreshed turn 1 would leave Azura in their dust, but by sheltering Azura and then transferring her to sing again, we can have another unit tail the lead unit. So on turn 2, Azura will be able to pair into them and get ferried to refresh the lead unit yet again. In this case, I've had both Camilla and Niles refreshed, with Niles breaching Kazu's room and Camilla just below him, but back far enough so Azura can pair into her next turn. In the east, Odin and Hiromi get in range of the 3 generic Oni Savages, with Hitaka providing rally defense and Selena following to help next turn. None of the bosses move, so we can wait until later to fight Rinka. Because she took counter damage, Setsuna gets a chance to kill Camilla. Victory, victory! Niles pulls one ninja, and because he brought Nyx with him, reaches 100 hit for the kill. Now Lunge won't activate, and Niles won't get dragged around. Even with the Bronze Axe, Hiromi only has 97 personal hits, but between Attack Stance and Odin's Heartseeker, we can ensure Hiromi keeps near perfect hit for all of his attacks. I left Korn equipped with a hand axe, so to avoid taking a counter attack while dealing the most damage, the surviving archers attack Baruka. Turn 2, Niles uses his third action of the map to open the Spirit Dust chest. The extra magic it provides will be key to Korn's success later. Before moving on to Camilla, Nyx runs back down the stairs to provide Heartseeker against Setsuna. Now Korn can one round using Camilla's Dual Strike, both with perfect hits. Nyx can then use the rest of her movement to provide Heartseeker against the generic archers while weakening one. I'm going to set up the kills for Baruka, who is just barely on track to reach level 12 in time, but if she got any less experience in Chapter 10, then I would just give up on her and give these kills to someone else. Alright, now Azura can pair into Camilla, who can ferry Azura to Niles, and then transfer over Camilla before singing for Niles. With this, Niles will be able to take Camilla as far as she could fly herself in 4 turns in just 2. We've also snuck them past the ninja's lunge chain, and by separating Camilla above Niles, we'll ensure none of the samurai block her path to the stairs next turn. I want Odin to start fighting Rinka now, and to clear a path, I have Hiromi take one generic kill now, with Selena providing the attack stance hit boost. With this positioning, Selena also provides attack stance for Odin. He'll set up the kill for Hiromi with just one round of combats, and that can wait until enemy phase. The last archer goes for the kill on Nyx, but I traded away her fire, so even if they miss, she'll save the chip XP for someone else. Odin only faces one crit from Rinka with her steel mace. Combined with all the other attacks we have to land, this puts the Eastern group's odds of success at just below 98%. Niles may have escaped the lunch chain, but he left Azura right in the middle of it. Good thing she's already gotten everyone where they need to be. For the last two Onis, Hiromi will have to get the kills on enemy phase. Because he received Rally Defense turn 1, he can survive one more attack, and then even if everything lands, and he dies to the third Oni, he'll just be revived and get the kill next enemy phase. All of the samurai move to attack Niles to avoid getting counterattacked. With Camilla to the north of Niles, this means none of the samurai will ever end north of Camilla. Despite getting lunged, Azura will always be able to sing for Korn while still leaving him south enough to backtrack and fight an archer. This ensures both can get experience this turn, even if it's just a few points. If Korn had any less experience, I would totally give this kill to him, but since I know both he and Baruka are on track with their levels, I'm fine giving it to her instead. Now with just one more kill, she'll get another level up, which will make for a minor reliability boost come chapter 13. In the east, all we have left to do is let Hiromi finish off Rinka and the last generic Oni. My 3 units keep a familiar position, with Odin applying Heartseeker, while Selena provides attack stance for Hiromi. This lets Hiromi get 100 hit even against Rinka, earning his first level up. He first learned Seal Resistance, and now he just needs one more level for Shove. Lastly, Niles pairs into Camilla to let her reach Hinoka with effectively her 5th movement. She could one-drown now, but by waiting until enemy phase, we can give Hiromi an opportunity to defeat the last Oni. We also give Azura an opportunity to die again. Poor girl just can't catch a break. After his level up, Hiromi now has more defense than Odin, but after equipping Fire to get rid of Nosferatu's -20 avoid penalty, Odin takes less expected damage, so the Oni attacks Hiromi instead. Camilla doesn't even need any tonics for this flawless kill. Niles gives her the speed to double, and with +10 hit from C-Rank Axe's weapon triangle advantage, and the +5 hit from Bow Knight's skill parrot bonus, Camilla reaches 100 hits. And that's chapter 11, completed in 3 turns. This was a good introduction to the movement tech needed to rush Camilla to bosses, but as bosses get tougher, we're going to have to pay attention to both movement and Camilla's combats going forward. Chapter 12 is an escape map, but it'll be much faster to take the alternative victory condition of defeating Ryoma. He's not actually much bulkier than Hinoka, but as a swordmaster, he'll be much dodgier, especially if Camilla uses axes. The pots also block our path at many points, but if we can break them all using the Dragon Vein, then the minimum amount of tiles to cross will be much shorter than last chapter at 28. This means moving Camilla just 4 times, which as we learned last chapter, we can do in 2 turns. And our side goal of training Hiromi should be even simpler than last chapter, just needing 1 kill. So now the only problem is, how does one possibly get Camilla more hits? This chapter also introduces some new units. The mercenary Laszlo just breaks a pot here, but his fancy footwork's rally and Bow Knight movements will be nichely useful later. Kaze rejoined at the end of last chapter, and his movement parrot bonus provides Baruka the movement needed to reach a pot to open up the central area. So with the Sing, Camilla and Niles can reach a choke point just below the apothecary room. The Cavalier Perry's main selling point is having shelter at base. Going forward, I won't need this on top of our other shelter users, but while she's force deployed, she can help Azura get an extra sing in for Corrin, with our new Sky Knight from chapter 10, Fumi, making the transfer. Corrin's back with his boyfriend this chapter, with the goal of getting 1 support point while they help in the central area. By breaking another pot and holding a choke point, Odin ensures none of these ninjas will end up blocking our path north next turn. And on the side, I again have a trio of units aiming to train Hiromi. This time I use Silas and Nyx, who can break 2 pots in the west, so Hiromi can get in range of 2 samurai. The 2 ninjas by Saizo target Niles at 1 range to avoid getting counterattacked while dealing the most damage. And with Camilla to the right of Niles, this guarantees they won't block her path north. Odin got hit by silence, so he can't counterattack, which means no support points with Korin. But Kagero doubles Odin, so she attacks him over Niles, setting up the southern ninja to perfectly finish the kill. And both ninjas always attack at 2 range, so they won't block her path north. Predictably, Hiromi and Nyx have terrible hit rates against the samurai. But to get a necessary round of chip XP, all I need to do is land one of these 4 attacks, which puts their odds of success at 99.9%. With Camilla blocking the choke point, this spearfighter has to attack Camilla. She obviously kills, getting rid of the last chance the enemies had to block her path. Turn 2, I must use our only available non-Camilla Dragon Vein user, Korin, to break the pots. Then, with Odin unpaired and unsilenced, he can attack a ninja using Korin's Dual Strike. This earns 1/2 plus 1/6 support points, which will round up to a whole 1. Alright, now's the time to uncover Camilla's secret to success. With a Heart Seal, she gains access to the Dark Mage tree, and I choose to use our last early game Heart Seal to reclass her into Dark Knight. This takes away her flight, but comes with a wide assortment of other benefits, including slightly higher stats, both sword and tome access, and most importantly, Dark Mage skills. Let's put a pin in that for now though, so Hiromi can get his last kill. Even with Nyx applying Heartseeker, Hiromi can never reach 100 a hit himself, thanks to his low personal hit and weapon triangle disadvantage. But with support from other units with perfect hit, he can always finish a kill using someone else's dual strike. And after getting at least 1 round of chip damage on enemy phase, this kill will always earn Hiromi his 2nd level up. This makes him our 2nd swap/shove user, and I'll specifically need shove next chapter. Now we can switch our attention back to Camilla, who needs a refresh after moving forward with her 3rd action. Baruka moved far enough forward turn 1 to help transfer chain Azura up to Niles, and while she's here, she can pick up the ninja kill Odin set up to reach level 12. The relevant gain here is 1 more point of defense.
Alright.
Like last chapter, Camilla can now meet up with Niles before getting a sync from Azura, and then move straight to the boss. She could 1 round on player phase with the strength tonic, but we might as well just 2 round Ryoma between player and enemy phase, even if it makes for an extra minute of enemy phase animations. With the dual club, Camilla could 1 round Ryoma even without a strength boost, and you'd think with good hit rate because of its double weapon triangle boost. However, the dual club has a terrible 60 base hit, while the broadsword is 40 points higher at 100. So even with plus 20 hit from double weapon triangle advantage, Camilla would only have 81 listed hits. This would be acceptable with multiple chances to land attacks, but with the broadsword, we have a 99.998% chance to land the necessary 3 attacks. Technically, if Baruka hadn't reached level 12 yet, she could dodge this apothecary and kill on the counterattack, since they got hit by a hexing rod pot. Okay, but back to Camilla. Even disregarding the reliability boost against Ryoma with the broadsword, this is a great chance for her to level up in Dark Knight and learn Dark Mage's level 1 skill, Heartseeker. With clever positioning, Odin and Nyx have made use of this for a lot of filler combats, but having it directly on our main combat unit will be immensely more useful, especially considering Camilla relies on 1 range for physical combats. To put it into context, Heartseeker will let Camilla reach perfect hit for dozens of attacks, when otherwise she would have 90 or even 80. This would add up to a noticeable expected turn count loss, but because of Heartseeker, I can ensure perfect reliability in almost every future chapter. And that's chapter 12 completed in 2 turns. We've managed to solve both the movement and combat for many boss skips going forward, but we're going to have to rethink how exactly we make use of Camilla, as chapter 13 brings us back to routes. The boss Scarlet is tough, starting far away and having great physical bulk, but the biggest challenge comes from managing all of the enemy formations at once, while also finding time to visit villages. On top of this, Camilla needs to stay in Dark Knight one final chapter until we can buy more heart seals, so she can't fly herself across the river and is weak to the Beast Killer squad. But if we can work around that, then it turns out Camilla's magical prowess will be just what we need to handle the enemies in the south. This will also be the final big chapter for our other Dark Mage, Odin, but he'll make the most of it by taking our first Master Seal to promote into Sorcerer. He could sweep a group with fire as a Dark Knight, but to be considerate of his boyfriend, he should keep Nosferatu access, so the two can have one last map where they fight together to maximize experience and support points. I'm also promoting Baruka this chapter, opting for the bulkier Wyvern Lord. By stacking as much defense as I can on her, many enemies will choose to ignore Baruka entirely this chapter, so she can fly around and visit an extra village without distracting the enemies. Alright, now let's get to the epic conclusion of our dark journey. The important task Odin has is to fight Takumi and his knights in the east, which he'll be able to do with perfect reliability with Corrin support and defense stacking. Niles takes Kaze west so they can start handling Orochi's group, and then to let Camilla immediately reach Reina, I have Fumi ferry her after a double shove. As a Malignite, she could reach with just a Sing, but now she doesn't have to fight through air superiority and gets perfect hits. In fact, she's 25 points of hit overkill. By lunging Reina, Camilla is now out of Orochi's attack range, and she'll be forced to attack into Niles at 2 range. In the east, Odin is also drawing Takumi out at 2 range, so Corrin can stay safe while fighting in attack stance. The Calamity Gate works against Orochi here, so Niles can 1 round with perfect hits. And even if she were to crit, Niles would still have enough HP left to fight the Diviners. With last chapter's support points, Corrin and Odin have reached a B support, and now they just need 4 more points to reach their goal of an A support. So by getting the chapter max of 3 support points now, they'll only need 1 more chapter with 1 point. This Javelin Knight could have reached Corrin, but because another Knight moved first and blocked their spot, they have to attack Odin. The Diviners get a chance to attack Niles at 1 range, but because I separated Kaze onto the gate, the Diviners will never completely surround Niles. Which is important because next turn I need him to backtrack east. All of the tiles adjacent to Niles are now blocked off, so the last 2 Diviners are forced to attack at 2 range. His odds of success technically aren't 100%, but he doesn't need to kill these Diviners anyway. Kaze will have a chance to pick up the kills later. Show me what you've got. Takumi has too much crit for me to nullify, but because I could afford to give the Draco Shield to Odin instead of Baruka, Odin can survive even through a crit. On the other hand, Camilla isn't so lucky. She can actually survive 1 Beast Killer no problem, but there's still 1 more Beast Killer, and the Iron Lance Cavalier uses up her guard gauge. Camilla's second level up comes at just the right time, with the extra point of magic and Malefic Aura effectively giving her +3 magical damage. She's doing fine with the Bronze Sword for now, but she'll have to switch to tomes if she hopes to 1-round everything else. Camilla's death causes some variance in enemy movement, because the lost enemies might move towards the weaker Fumi. but any outcome is still manageable. Turn 2, Odin finishes Takumi, reaching perfect hit thanks to attack stance, supportive, weapon triangle, and the water terrain. Corrin's goal is to reach level 15 by the end of the map, which he can do with just a few more night kills. If Corrin needed more experience, then he could have gone for the Takumi kill, though his hit wouldn't have been nearly as high as Odin's. Before refreshing Corrin, Niles and Kaze run back east, with Niles pairing into Azura, while Kaze goes with Hiromi to stay in the west. The knights that couldn't reach anyone turn 1 ended up moving south towards Fumi, but if Camilla had lived, then they would have followed Takumi. In that case, we would just get the kill between Odin on turn 2 enemy phase and Hitaka on turn 3 player phase. But in this case, I have Baruka defeat them between turn 2 player and enemy phase. With Rally Defense, she still takes damage from the Knights, but not from the Beast Killer Cavalier. So while Camilla equips Thunder and visits the 5,000 gold village, I can guarantee that every attacking enemy will die on the counterattack this turn. Good for you, girl. You deserve a break. This round of combat happens to earn Baruka Sea Axes. This gives her +5 hits, which is a nice reliability boost, but with only a few more combats left in the game for her, it's not too important. With Hiromi providing +3 strength, Kaze doesn't even need a strength tonic to one-round the last Diviners. He could get more experience by 2-rounding, but enemies at low HP get healing AI this chapter because of the gates, and Kaze's experience doesn't matter anymore anyways. If you're just trying to beat the game, then there are several more enemy formations where a speedy, resistant ninja can be useful, but for my run, he just won't be able to get enough experience to reliably pull off those sweeps.
Your battle has ended.
It's important that Camilla gets in range of the Wyvern Knight pairs now, so she can defeat one enemy this turn and the remaining one on the next. And because the Knights choose to attack first to deal more damage, the remaining enemies will be the high movement Wyverns, which is good because they'll still be able to reach Camilla turn 3. Camilla uses all of her newfound magical might to get her revenge against the last Cavalier.
Did it hurt? Oh, what a pain in the butt!
Turn 3, Charlotte and Benny show up to battle, but sadly for them, the action is just about over. They also have very little to provide after this chapter, with low movement and all-important combat being handled by Camilla and Corrin. They could provide Berserker pair-up stats, but without also providing movement on pair-up, this use case is very limited. Well, moving on, Corrin gets one last kill to reach level 15. This doesn't raise his internal level, and progressing his stat gains before promoting will be a huge help. With the bridge clear, Odin can charge ahead, and with a Sing and Niles providing +1 movement, reach the Master Seal village. This leaves Odin in range of the remaining Wyverns, and he's already gotten the support he needs with Corrin, so he's fine to sweep the Wyverns with Niles. Next, Baruka visits the Arm Scroll village, with enough defense that unpaired Wyverns will ignore her. Lastly, Camilla gets in range of Scarlet's group and heals with a concoction, in case she hadn't died turn 1 and been revived at full HP. Camilla also needs all of her magical might to defeat Scarlet. As a Malignite, even the strong Steel Axe would fail to kill, and without Malefic Aura, so would Thunder. Another great aspect to mention about Camilla's new Dark Mage skills is that they're auras, so they don't just help her, but also her allies. Combined with her personal skill, this means anyone who fights alongside Camilla should be getting some sort of boost, if not many. As one last act of excellence, Odin one-rounds the final wyverns. His stats as an early promoted sorcerer won't give him much to do going forward, but he's leaving his boyfriend off in an amazing position. Both have reliably gained 5 levels during their time together, and with just one more support point, Corin will have access to Dark Mage for the rest of the run.
Power overflowing! My aching blood!
And that's chapter 13, completed in 3 turns. Odin's journey may be over, but with Camilla's accuracy issue solved, and Corin just about ready to become a dominant combat unit, I'm feeling confident going into the next set of defeat boss maps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.